All right, how's everybody doing here today? We got another fun video for you guys. We're going to be going over 7 fantasy QBs that you guys are sleeping on.
So, number 1, we're going to go Jared Goff. I think he was a top 10 fantasy QB last year, and the Lions only got better. Here's the thing, I think people will pass him up too, just strictly based off of I don't know why, but people just have such a sour taste about Goff for whatever reason. He's a talented quarterback.
No, I'm with you. I'm not with the Jared Goff slander. I'm not with the disrespect in the rankings.
No.
And again, we're over here. We think the Lions are going to be good next year. And if you think Lions are going to be good as well, I see no way you don't think after what he did last year, the Derek Carr is not. I said Derek Carr. The Jared Goff is not going to improve. It just doesn't make any sense.
I don't see. There's a world where I think Jared Goff could be a top 5 fantasy QB.
Oh, absolutely.
Now that's the top of the top, but you can't tell me he's going to fall out of the top 10.
Absolutely not. That's why I was so baffled that where a lot of people have him ranked.
Yeah. The number 2 quarterback that is a sleeper, Geno Smith. And here's the thing. A lot of people are sleeping because he was a top 5 QB last year in PPR and standard. But I guess at the end of the day, the offense got better. Unless he, regresses to, unless he writes back.
So basically, he just can't grab the pen and paper.
He can't grab the pen and paper. Realistically, he's a scary quarterback to take because of his past, but the upside of the Seahawks, their offense is so loaded.
And I almost view the Seahawks and Geno. It's like a marriage. It's I'm trying to separate prior Geno. It's like a whole new relate. It's you know what I mean? It's that was a different era of Geno. It's a new relationship. He's got something new going on.
Yeah.
And it's him and the Seahawks is an own entity in itself.
Yeah.
I you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna view the trajectory of what already is going with what already's happened in the Seahawks time. And it's you know what? We're saying with Jared Goff, same kind of concept. It's only in my opinion, can only go up from here.
Yeah.
And I'm not with the disrespect that he's been receiving in these rankings.
So here's the thing. This is what I want to preface. These are not guys you're going to take over like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. But I would say if you get past Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, Burrow, Jackson, Fields, Herbert, and Lawrence, these are guys that could be those are guys that will be the next man up.
No, for sure.
For the possibility for most of these guys on the list. The next guy we got, Russell Wilson. He was in my opinion, or not my opinion, this is just a fact. He posted 3 top 5 fantasy finishes in his final 4 starts last year. And now he has Sean Payton. So really why can't he be a top 10 QB this year in fantasy?
No, and that's what I was saying. Again, this is the Sean Payton effect. Seriously, he's gonna throw a lot more touchdowns in the red zone. Things gonna be a lot simpler, a lot more productive. Sean Payton it is what it is. When you're playing with Sean Payton, you're just going to be a better quarterback. And we already know Russell Wilson has intangibles to be a really good quarterback. We just got to see him get back to it. And there's not a better situation for him to be in than having Sean Payton come in and help.
Yeah, the 2 of those finishes were against the Chiefs, another one against the Chargers.
It's crazy. He was balling out against the Super Bowl winners.
He was hooping. Anthony Richardson, next up on the list. I think, if he, we know what he's going to be from a running standpoint. We know what Shane Steichen's going to do with them. Now, if he develops a pass game, tell me how he can't be top 15.
No, 100%. And I think something I just want to say too, that I want to say for I haven't really thought about it recently, but with Anthony Richardson, there's been a lot of talk about how it's his throwing is so far behind where it should be. And don't get me wrong. I understand what people are saying, but when I watch his release, especially the later games in college, it's not some abysmal release.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. You want to see him get it down 0.3, 0.4 seconds, but it's certainly not the end of the world. Trust me. And
No.
it's just a little mechanic change. It's not like when you were watching Aaron Rodgers throw the ball in college. Really, you can go find really talented people who used to throw the ball a lot worse than Anthony Richardson is right now. And so that's my point is I don't think that there's this huge mechanics gap that everybody's trying to make it seem like.
Yeah.
I personally just am not seeing it that way.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you want to look at it, I think the bottom for him, let me pull up. I think he could have in terms of passing, a Justin Fields type rookie year.
Absolutely.
From a passing standpoint.
That's
but
realistic.
But Justin Fields didn't really run that much as a rookie. He only had 72 attempts in 12 games. So I guess that is a lot, but he only had 400 yards. So like I could see him having like a rushing year like this for Justin. And then like that coupled with like a very mediocre year with passing, that's still like a really highly rated quarterback.
No, and especially as for fantasy, again, this is the thing is he's trying to bring you points. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter his completion percentage, none of that, none of those box score things. It just matters what he's doing. And I think A. Rich is good for at least a rushing touchdown every 2 weeks. And again, on top of a few passing touchdowns for once in a while, he's going to be a sleeper for sure. There's no doubt.
I could see him easily 10 rushing touchdowns this year.
Easily.
Next up, this is kind of going to depend on like how their offense is, because this is truly, I think, one of the biggest question marks in the NFL. Jordan Love could surprise a lot of people. I think the receiving core isn't as bad as people make it out to be. I don't think it's good, but it's definitely not like bottom 5. I don't think, at least.
No, absolutely not. And again, we know how the Packers have been for years. The offense is very scheme dependent. It's very open. It's like much like how the Niners operate.
Yeah.
It's getting guys open versus guys that can get open.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, not that you still don't want to have talented guys.
Yeah.
But again, like you were saying, I still think that they do have talented guys. I think Jaden Reed's going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a very talented receiver for a very long time. Romeo Doubs is going to come in. I think he can have a humongous year this year.
Yeah.
Really, I really do. And it's just, yeah. And then we know about Christian Watson. Christian Watson's a special player. Christian Watson, low key, has the ability to be, I'm trying to think of like a fantasy term I want to put him with. Like he will be, I don't want to gas him too much, but in a couple years, Christian Watson, potential league winner type of player, potentially, if the Jordan Love connection is there. And it's like,
he's a question mark to me, but I understand what you're saying.
Where it's like, we know at least on the up, he has the upside to be. And it's like, that's the thing is the Packers have 3 guys that have really high upside.
Yep.
Really high upside. And so I'm not as low on the Packers core as a lot of people are.
Yeah. I had him on my team. I dropped him in Dynasty. I was pretty sick.
That is sickening.
Yeah.
I don't blame you after the way things started at first, though.
Yeah, it was tough. And then I realized they got to be patient with receivers. All right. Getting to the end of the list here. Number 6, Kenny Pickett.
I think we can agree why Kenny P's here.
Yeah.
Because we were struggling a little bit. We would have put him in tiers. But, Kenny P, look, the Steelers are Mike Tomlin's team. I mean, you can't, like we would say, Mike Tomlin's only going to be so bad. He's not fooling to go under 500.
Right.
So the floor for Kenny P is to have, I would say, as like a year like last year, and that's just the floor. Again, a good solid core. Like I was saying before, nothing crazy to me. But you got a lot of solid options. George Pickens could have another huge, like a huge jump this year and become really solid.
It really depends if he takes a big step. If he takes a big step, he's got like, the thing is like he's got the coaching and he's got the people around him. I don't really like Matt Canada, but I don't know. Like to me, Pickett's one of those guys with like not below average talent. I want to say like average talent, but he's one of those intangible guys.
He definitely is one of those intangible guys.
So
he has the clutch intangible too. I just want to throw that in here. The game-winning drives last year, he turns it on when it's a game-winning drive.
Yep.
Weird. Not something you really think about when you think of Kenny P, but he is a clutch player.
The biggest thing is he's surrounded on offense and he's got like a great head coach. So that's an option. Last on our list. Okay, this is really like a boomer bust type player. Sam Howell. He was meshing really well with the locker room last year. He's got a really good receiving core, in my opinion. Eric Bieniemy, we've seen what he's done with Patrick Mahomes. Now, I understand that a lot of that's Andy Reid and like Matt Nagy was in kind of a similar position, but I don't know. I like Sam Howell. I like it, and he's one of those guys where it's like, okay, let's say he balls out with Bieniemy in that receiving core. Like, he'd be better than a lot of other options.
No, absolutely. And also to the point where you're saying about Bieniemy, where people ought to be like, oh, it's all Andy Reid. Again, to your point, I get what people are saying. Yeah. But also, hey, look, Eric Bieniemy was in every single one of those meetings and for every single year that he's been there. Yep. And it's like you absorb the stuff that Reid was teaching to him as well. Yeah. It's like you now are the sponge that's going to bring that over here. And I think Commanders fans should look at it that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we said, Sam Howell, to preface to like we're saying, it's a reach. This would be the guy you'd go on last, I would say. Where it's like if you got a late shot where you need a second quarterback and you're like, if you're super flex, it's like that would be a good spot to get him. Don't go reaching on Sam per se. Reach. But if he's there and nobody else, you tell it's kind of time to just snag him. Where it's like you need a quarterback, maybe someone else close by does. That would be the time to take Sam Howell.
A lot of these guys, like past like a Jared Goff, Geno Smith, and Russell Wilson, like A-Rich, Love, Pickett, Howell. Like, these are guys that can break out as your second QB on your roster. Like, these are not guys you should be like reaching for like crazy, but like, I don't know, like I would take Anthony Richardson over Kirk Cousins, Jordan Love over Kirk Cousins. Like, I don't know about Jordan Love after Kirk Cousins, but I would take him in front of like Carr, Stafford, Jimmy G, Mac Jones, like any of those guys easily.
Absolutely.
I would take Sam Howell over Mac Jones.
Just on the upside for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are the top 7 biggest sleeper QBs in fantasy that you guys need to look out for.